That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? Well, of course, yesterday was Chair Watch. 5.5 hours.
For some, not me.
5.5 hours of the most idiotic presentation any studio has ever done.
But my IKEA stock went up.
But because of your chairs. So I actually jumped on and I put up a poll on the channel. I said, and I asked a simple question. If you had a choice to tune in and watch just one of these two streams announcing the cast of the upcoming Avengers movie or Avengers Doomsday cast, which one would you watch? One, the back of chairs with one new name being revealed every 12 minutes, or two, a 1-hour presentation of Kevin Feige on a stage announcing each name with an image of them and their character on a screen as he reveals them. Had nearly 10,000 people vote on that. 86% said the Feige one. The Feige one. Actually, I started watching a bunch of other people, including like the folks over at Screen Crush, and they're all like, what the hell is this? It was so stupid. Such a stupid way to do the presentation. Now, I would have been okay with it if it was one new chair every minute.
Right.
Right? If it was like the camera pans, new name, yeah! And then by the time we're finishing going, yeah, then the camera moves again to the next. If they had done it like one every minute,
yeah,
totally fine.
Oh, well, then they released that YouTube clip where it was just like a nice quick pan as it just went back.
Yeah, just across all of them, right?
Yeah,
like that's how you should have done it.
Great.
5 hours of this anyway. That's not the story here. That's not the story. There were 20 plus names listed, of course, right? Yeah. And just to refresh everybody's memory, here are the names.
In real time. Oh.
In real time. We're going to do one every 3 minutes, guys. No, Chris Hemsworth, Vanessa Kirby, Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, Letitia Wright, Paul Rudd, Wyatt Russell, Namor, Tano Coretta Miha, Eben Moss Backrack, Simu Liu, Florence Pugh, Kelsey Grammer, Louis Pullman, Danny Ramirez, Joseph Quinn, David Harbour, Winston Duke, Hannah John Kamen, John Hiddleston, Tom Hiddleston, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Alan Cumming, Rebecca Romaine, James Marsden, Channing Tatum, which I probably was the biggest surprise, Pedro Pascal, and of course, Robert Downey Jr. So a lot of names. But, and like I said, Channing Tatum was a surprising name. Mm-hmm. But what was more surprising were the names that were not on there. Now, before we do our countdown of the 30 most surprising names that were not listed on this cast, let me address something. It is absolutely possible that they come out and do another Chair Watch and reveal more cast later. They could.
I think they will.
It did feel kind of final with Robert Downey Jr. being the last one going and all that kind of stuff.
I remember thinking, yeah, we saw Pedro Pascal. I'm like, okay, there's going to be like 10 more at least.
There's going to be like at least 10 more.
Then it ended.
But lest you just assume, and lest I just assume, and we are saying it's possible, that, they're just going to release it. Remember this. Benedict Cumberbatch. Remember this? About a month or so ago. Because everybody would have thought Doctor Strange was going to be in this movie, right? Everybody would have thought Doctor Strange was going to be in this movie. But maybe a month or two ago, Benedict Cumberbatch did an interview where he came out and said, I'm not going to be in Doomsday. He said, I'm going to be in Secret Wars, but I'm not going to be in Doomsday. Well, if that's the case with Doctor Strange, it's possible there are going to be a lot of characters that won't be in Doomsday, but will be in Secret Wars. Because if we already know they're doing that with one big major character, Doctor Strange, it's certainly feasible that they're going to do that with a lot of other characters too. Again, not saying that's what they are doing, but I'm saying let's not rush, even though I'm seeing a lot of the outlets speculating that there'll probably be another cast now. Maybe there will be. Maybe there will be. I'm just saying I don't think we can automatically just say with certainty that there will be. Because again, there's a lot of names that we were super surprised at that we're not getting, but at least one of them already came out in advance and said they're not going to be in Doomsday. So with that understanding in place, here are the 30 to me in order of least surprising to most surprising. Okay, so the first 5-10 names we're going to list, I'm not really surprised at. So we're going to start with number 30. This is the one I'm least surprised isn't in there, but she did have her own Disney Plus show on MCU Disney Plus show. Echo. Not surprised. I mean, you would think with the big Avengers film and all that kind of stuff that anybody who led their own series might be in there, but Echo went over like a lead balloon. I was so interested in this character before I saw Hawkeye. Because once I found out they were going to have Echo, I thought that's great. And then I saw Hawkeye and they didn't do the character any justice and the series wasn't very good. So I'm not surprised that they did not mention Echo. All right. Number 29, Doctor Strange. Again, the reason Doctor Strange is so low on the surprise list is because Benedict came out and told us months ago he was not going to be in this movie, but fear not, he will be in Secret Wars. Okay, so really not that surprising. So number 30, Echo. Number 29, Doctor Strange. At number 28, Black Widow. Again, we had Scarlett Johansson just a little while. We did a story on the show where Scarlett Johansson was doing an interview saying, look, she's dead. Natasha's dead. Let her have her hero's death. Not coming back to play Natasha. So she kind of came out and stated that definitively. So that's why she's all the way down at 28 on the surprise factor of not being announced. All right. At number 27, any of the Eternals. Now, some of you might have thought they should be even lower on the list than 27, but we just had a Captain America movie where they actually started bringing elements of the Eternals back in. With Tiamat coming out of the ocean, they're finally making reference back to events of the Eternals. So again, I have them all the way down at 27, but that's why I don't have them even lower, is because they were starting to talk about them again and reintroducing themes. So who knows? All right. At number 26, Kang. Now, again, remember, I do have this way low, but with... Look, I know they've moved on from Kang, but that didn't mean there wasn't a chance they could still have Kang have some kind of small role in it.
Even if he was recast.
Even if he was recast. But even with Jonathan Majors, right? There was the chance that a small part of Kang, a small part for Kang may have been there. Again, not tremendously surprised. I got him all the way down to 26, but that's why he was there in the first place. All right. At number 25, we're starting to get a little bit more surprised now, but not terribly surprised. Moon Knight. Yeah, I have not expected to see Oscar Isaac pop up in this. I was overall kind of disappointed with the Moon Knight series, although I think it had some really good episodes, and I thought it started well, and I love Oscar Isaac in the role. And man, that is one of the best character designs in the MCU. Look at that. That's gorgeous. I love that. But the show didn't do all that great. There's really been no talk of Moon Knight since. So I thought there was a chance. I wasn't going to be shocked if we saw his name come up, but number 25 on the list of most surprising that he wasn't there. All right. At number 24 is a character that I'm sure many of you would have put much, much, much higher on this list. Wolverine. Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. There are still, even with the casting announcements done, there are still people out there who 100% believe, without any shadow of a doubt, that Hugh Jackman. You guys know that I have always doubted that Hugh Jackman was going to come back for these Avengers films. Right from day one, I've said I do not believe he's going to be there. That doesn't mean that there's no chance that he could. Of course there's a chance. This is just me as a fan speculating. But I've got him all the way down at number 24 because I really don't find it that surprising. Now, yesterday, as they were listing off the names of people who are going to be in it, and they started mentioning some of the X-Men, if you guys watched the show yesterday, even I was like, maybe I have to, like, as they're mentioning Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, James Marsden. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I've never thought they were going to put Hugh Jackman in this, but maybe his name is going to come up, but they didn't. And so I'm not terribly surprised. I've got Wolverine, Hugh Jackman at number 24. At number 23, another name that I think a lot of people would have put much higher on this list, but again, I have always doubted they'll be here. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. I mean, I've been saying for a long time, I don't know that Deadpool's going to be in the Avengers films. Again, like Hugh Jackman, it's totally possible they will be, but I'm not tremendously surprised that Ryan's name in Deadpool wasn't brought up during that presentation. So I don't have him very high on the list. I got him all the way down at number 23. At number 22, Scarlet Witch. Now, the reason, again, this is another character that a lot of people would have thought automatic. Put it way high on the list of surprise. But we just talked the other day about an interview with Elizabeth Olsen where she said, she confirmed in an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, confirmed, I am not coming back for either Avengers film. So she could have been lying, could have been, but she straight up came out and said, I am not going to be in either, Doomsday or Secret Wars. So I can't say I'm tremendously surprised that she wasn't there and listed. So that's at number 22, Scarlet Witch. At number 21, and some of you might be surprised that I have this character as high on my list as I do, because I think a lot of people thought there was no chance. But at number 21, I'm going to have Agatha. And the reason I've got Agatha on there is because they just gave her own series, but her own series did very well. I mean, it got bigger viewership numbers than Daredevil's getting. And so because of that, and it's Catherine Hahn and everybody loves her. Again, I don't have her near the top of the list, but I kind of thought I wasn't going to be surprised if we saw her. So I've got Agatha not being there all the way up at number 21. All right. Now we get into the top 20. Now I'm starting to get a little surprised, like a little bit more surprised that they're not there. At number 20, the current iteration of Guardians of the Galaxy. This new team of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
Now, I remember James Gunn saying before Guardians 3 came out that this is going to be the last ride for this iteration of the Guardians. I had my doubts we're ever going to see a Guardians 4 with this lineup, but maybe popping up in this thing I thought was definitely a possibility. And so the fact that none of the current iteration of Guardians of the Galaxy, I find that a little bit surprising. Not totally shocked, but a little surprising. So I have that all the way up at number 20. At number 19, Wasp. Now, I wouldn't have totally thought she would have been there, but once they announced Paul Rudd and Ant-Man was going to be there, well, then I was kind of expecting to see her. And the fact that she wasn't there kind of became a little bit of a surprise. So at number 19, I've got, in our ranking of surprise that they weren't listed in the cast, I've got Wasp. All right. Let's get to number 18. At number 18, I thought there was a possibility, but if you guys watch, I've never really thought they would be. No mention of John Bernthal or the Punisher. I just don't see how Punisher fits into this, really, with the way the cinematic universe is set up. So, but again, with the popularity of the character, you couldn't discount the possibility. So, not tremendously shocked, but a little bit surprised that they didn't end up having Punisher. At number 17, directly connected to that, Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox's Daredevil. Again, if you guys have been watching the show, I've been saying for a while, I actually have my doubts that they're going to have Daredevil. I think they're just going to angle Daredevil to just be in the TV show. I think they're just going to keep him there with the exception of some cameos here and there. But again, Daredevil's so good. It's definitely got a very loyal fan base. I definitely knew there was a chance it could be there. So I've got it at number 17. At number 16, in my most surprised that they weren't on the Doomsday list, Blade. I listen, obviously we can't be completely shocked that Blade isn't there. They don't even have his movie going yet. But I did think there was a good possibility that, likened unto, say, Black Panther being introduced in Captain America Civil War, I thought there could be a possibility that Blade, they just decide to introduce him in Avengers Doomsday. That has not happened. Little surprised by that. So that's at number 16. All right. Now we go into the top half of the list. This is where I'm getting increasingly more and more surprised that these names were not on there. At number 15, it's a multiversal story. They used him a lot in What If. Killmonger. Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger. Very popular character. Yeah. Michael B. Jordan is an incredibly hot actor. Everybody loves this character. Again, I referenced the fact that they've keep going back to him in What If. I was straight up kind of expecting that he would be in this a little bit. So Killmonger is my number 15. Number 14, Kate Bishop. They clearly have plans for Kate Bishop, right? Not only because she's in the Hawkeye series and it sounds like there's going to be season 2, but also at the end of an MCU movie, The Marvels, they have her pop up in the end credit or at the end of the film. Clearly implying that they've got future plans, and Haley Steinfeld is a super great star. So I was kind of expecting to see her in there. Now, again, maybe she could show up in Secret Wars like everybody else on this list, but I was kind of surprised that we didn't see Haley Steinfeld's share there. All right. At number 13, if I had made this list before Secret Invasion came out, I would have had this name higher. Mm-hmm. But Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury. Right? I mean, Nick has been a mainstay of the Marvel Cinematic Universe ever since that first Iron Man movie. But they've been using him a little bit less. The fact that Secret Invasion was such a train wreck, I still am quite surprised. That's why I've got him all the way up at 13. Still quite surprised, but not totally shocked that he's not there. So, but I've got him as high as number 13. All right. At number 12, and like I said, now we're getting more and more surprised that they weren't on the list. Monica Rambeau. Photon, whatever you want to call her.
Seemed like she was a natural link to the X-Men.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, once we saw that Kelsey Grammer's name was on there, which was in and of itself a really pleasant surprise. Well, when did we meet him? Through her. She's there. Like, apparently, and we don't know this for sure, but we're surmising that our first incursion is going to be that world that Monica Rambeau ended up on. And because she's there with Kelsey Grammer's Beast and all that kind of stuff. So because of that, I thought it would make sense, especially once they started listing off the X-Men characters. So, well, she's there already. She'll probably be on the list. And she wasn't. And so I'm actually quite surprised that Monica Rambeau's name was not there. Oh, guys, please, in the live chat going, God, John, it's not the full cast. You clearly have been watching from the beginning. Just hold on. I'll repeat what I said at the beginning when we get to the end there. All right. At number 11, if I hadn't seen the cast list, I wouldn't be this surprised. But because Thor, Chris Hemsworth, was listed right off the bat, I really expected Valkyrie. I really did. So I got to adjust my camera a little bit here. I was fully expecting Valkyrie. Once they said Thor was going to be in there, I really thought we were going to get Valkyrie. And so color me pretty damn surprised that Valkyrie wasn't there. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, PrizePicks. Baseball season is officially here, and if you're not running your game on PrizePicks yet, you are seriously missing out. This is daily fantasy made easy, and it's how I keep every pitch exciting. You see, PrizePicks lets you pick more or less on player projections like strikeouts, RBIs, or hits, and that's it. I just cooked up my lineup for this week. I'm taking Shohei Ohtani for more than one home run and Julio Rodriguez for more than one stolen base. Whether it's baseball, basketball, or even esports, you can mix and match players from different sports sports for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your money. And the app is super intuitive. It takes under 60 seconds to lock in your picks. And here's a little bonus. Every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday, where you get select player projections at a discount. More value, more fun. So download the app today and use the code Campea to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. Download the app today and use the code Campea to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. All right. At number 10. My goodness. If you're going to have Patrick Stewart and you're going to have Ian McKellen and you're going to have Kelsey Grammer and you're going to have Rebecca Romaine, but most importantly, if you're going to have Cyclops and James Marsden, surely you're going to have Famke Janssen playing Jean Grey. No mention of Jean Grey. And listen, like when they did X-Men Days of Future Past and they did the surprise cameos at the end, they made sure they had James Marsden and Famke Janssen.
Because didn't that kind of fix the events of the third one where she's Dark Phoenix and all that? I mean, like...
Right, well, because, yeah, the timeline gets fixed and all
Right.
this kind of stuff. So I was, by the time it ended, I was completely shocked. Not as shocked as the absence of a couple of other X-Men characters, but still very, very shocked at Jean Grey at number 10. At number 9, Paul Bettany's Vision. We got, first of all, he's a very popular character. He is out there. They've got a Vision Quest TV series coming. It would seem he'd be a pretty good guy to have in this. And again, like everybody else, they could absolutely show up in Secret Wars. Remember, this was not the cast list announcement for Doomsday and Secret
Right.
Wars. This is just Doomsday.
That's why I think a few of these we will end up seeing in Secret Wars. So
I have no doubt that there are some people on this list of my surprise list that we are absolutely going to see in Secret Wars. And maybe Vision's one of them. I'm still kind of surprised that he isn't going to be in this one. All right. At number 8. Remember how I said with Jean Grey, there were still a couple other X-Men characters I'm even more surprised? Rogue. Anna Paquin is Rogue. As soon as I saw Patrick Stewart, well, certainly after I saw Kelsey Grammer, I really thought Rogue would be there. They even had the little Rogue cut of X-Men Days of Future Past. She unfortunately got kind of edited out of that film. If you haven't seen it, go look it up on YouTube. Her scenes in X-Men Days of Future Past are really good. Anyway, I was really expecting to see her name pop up. Once we started to see the other X-Men, fully expect to see there. I am actually very, very surprised. Very surprised that we're not going to get a Rogue in there. All right. At number 7 of my most surprised that they weren't announced. Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye. He's still there. He's going to be doing a second season most likely. But most importantly, he is one of the few OG Avengers still around.
yeah.
Now, let's go back to the last set of Avengers movies. He wasn't in the first one, in the back-to-back. He wasn't in Infinity War. And then they brought him in Endgame, gave him an amazing story in Endgame. So maybe they're going to do the same thing here. He's not in this one. He'll be in the next one, maybe. But I mean, especially as one of the few remaining OG Avengers, I really thought we were going to see Hawkeye in this list. Very surprised that he wasn't. At number 6, the Hulks. Be them Hulk or She-Hulk. Really listen, I'm not going to lie to you. As much as I did not like the She-Hulk show, I don't think many people like the She-Hulk show. And as much as I didn't like it, I still think the character is great. And I think Tatiana Maslany playing the character is great. And as much as I do not like Hawaiian shirt wearing, family barbecue attending, bowl cut sun having Hulk, they totally nerfed the Hulk. But I still fully expected us to see Hulks in this.
Or at least Eric Bana.
I mean, or at least Ed Norton Jr.
Yeah.
I fully expected to see Hulk representation. Green is mean, my friends. I was really 100% expecting to see it. So I'm going to have all the way up at number 6 of my shock that they weren't listed off is any of the Hulk family. At number 5, Now we're into the top 5 of the most shocked I was. Now remember, this list is not about who should be there. I'm just saying who I was shocked wasn't there.
Wasn't on the chair.
Right.
Who's on the chair instead of who's on the lunchbox?
Who's on the chair? I can get you back on a chair.
I can get you on the chair.
At number 5, we're in the top 5 now. Stunned. I would have put money on this. No Chris Pratt as Peter Quill, a.k.a. Star-Lord.
Star-Lord, man.
Remember, at the end of that Guardians movie, Marvel sent the direct message. Peter Quill, Star-Lord, will return. We haven't seen him yet. And so, I mean, he's on Earth. He's hanging out at his grandpa's place, his maternal grandpa's place. He's there. And I was fully expecting. Like, even when they showed Robert Downey Jr.'s chair, 5.5 hours into it, I thought, wow, that's weird that Robert Downey Jr. isn't the final chair, because I'm sure we're going to see Chris Pratt's. It never happened. So at number 5, Star-Lord. At number 4, remember when I said Jean Grey? I said there was a couple of X-Men I was surprised to be there. Rogue was one of them. Once I saw James Marsden and Kelsey Grammer recommend, I would have bet a finger that Halle Berry's Storm would have been in there. Oh, I would have put money on it.
Yeah.
I would have lost a lot of money on that. I 100% thought Storm was going to be there.
I mean, we got Alan Cumming.
I mean, you got Alan Cumming. I love Nightcrawler. But really? You're bringing back Alan Cumming? Okay, I'm totally up for it. And not Storm? That, to me, again, you don't have to have any of them there. You don't have to have Storm. You don't have to, but once I saw the other X-Men characters, you were here. I'm like, oh, we're definitely going to get Storm. Mm-hmm. Halle Berry's definitely going to come up. And so I was really, really...
I actually was thinking Halle Berry over James Marsden was more likely. So that's...
I would have as well. If you had told me 48 hours ago, on the Doomsday cast list, one of these two names will be on there.
Yeah.
Halle Berry or James Marsden. I would say, oh, Halle Berry.
Halle Berry, yeah.
I'm not saying that's what I would have preferred. I'm just saying, yeah, definitely Halle Berry. I mean, you got to have Storm, especially with what they're doing with Storm in the comics today.
Yeah.
Like, she is straight up God level right now. In the comics, she's taking out gods. They have her beyond Omega level. Like, she's crazy powerful and all that kind of stuff. And I just kind of thought she would be there. All right. Now we get into our top 3. Now remember, I'm not saying this list is a list of who should have been there. This is a list of my surprise level that they weren't. At number 3, Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel. And one of the main reasons is because Marvel is very big on this character right now. Between her inclusion in the video games, transferring her from the small screen to the big screen with the Marvels, and then even giving her direct references in Daredevil, and the post-credit scene, hooking her up with Kate Bishop. They just, and the stuff in What If, they're clearly very big on this character and have plans for this character moving forward. And I personally love the character. But with all of that, I thought it was a 100% foregone conclusion that she was going to be in there. And she was not. So, yeah, extremely shocked that we do not have Kamala Khan. At number 2, how do you not have Captain Marvel? Like, you're talking about the character that basically turned the tide in the big battle at the end of Endgame. Clearly a big favorite of Kevin Feige's and all that kind of stuff. And one of the most powerful pieces of any puzzle that you would have on the board.
She was also the last to see Rambeau in their universe.
Yeah, also, but again, Rambeau also not on the list.
Exactly.
Right? So just with all of that, again, not saying they should or shouldn't be there. I'm just saying shocked that they're not. When you look at the way they've been handled by Marvel, I'm really quite shocked that she wasn't on the list. So that's at number 2. At number 1 is, I think, everybody's number 1. Tom Holland, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. If for no other reason then I think it's safe to say that Spider-Man is probably Marvel's most popular character. I mean, maybe there'll be some argument there, but wouldn't most of you agree that generally speaking, he is, if not the absolute most popular Marvel character, he's definitely in the conversation. Like, I think everybody would agree with that, right?
He's the gateway for a lot of kids.
Absolutely.
I mean, what kid doesn't look at that and think that character is cool? I mean, swinging around town, saving people.
Like Victor in the live chat saying, John, what about Toby and Andrew? I never thought there was one iota chance that they would.
If anything, I've always maintained that it's Secret Wars if you're going to see them again.
I've never believed for 1 second. I don't even think it rates being on the list. Now, again, as we look over this list, I want to remind everybody what I said at the very beginning, which is, of course, it is possible that we are going to get more names and more cast announcements. I'm just saying that lest we just automatically assume that, a lot of these characters could be exactly like Doctor Strange. You know, Benedict came out and said a while ago, Doctor Strange, I am not going to be in Avengers Doomsday, but I will be in Secret Wars. Hawkeye, an OG Avenger, was not in Infinity War, but he was in Endgame. A lot of these characters on this list, it's very possible are not in Doomsday, but will in fact, because anybody who knows the story, Secret Wars is when it gets really batty. That's when it gets way out of control, is Secret Wars, right? So it's not a stretch to say, well, if Doctor Strange has already said, yeah, I'm not in Doomsday, but I am going to be in Secret Wars, then I think the logical assumption from there is there's probably a number of characters on this list, like Spider-Man, like Vision, like Star-Lord, and others who, okay, Doomsday, we got this story and we need this many characters. And then in Secret Wars, we're going to bring in Doctor Strange. So again, is it possible they do another cast announcement list? Absolutely. Is it possible that some of the names I have on this list, being surprised that wasn't a part of the announcement, could still end up being in Doomsday? Absolutely. But is it also possible that they won't be, and some of them or a lot of them might get saved until Secret Wars? That as well. Ooh, I was about to ask you guys in live chat, what other names are you kind of surprised at? You know, Mario just brought up a good one. War Machine, Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
You know, I totally whiffed on Don Cheadle. I should have had him on the list too.
I'm a little surprised at the lack of 616 representation. I know we'll be getting a lot of the Thunderbolts there, but there's not a lot of 616 representation.
It feels like they're not going cosmic with this cast. It feels like a lot of them are grounded, other than Thor. I think Thor coming from a different. I think a lot of it is like maybe this is Doom's gonna be on top at the end of this movie, obviously, right?
All right. Well, yeah. So a couple of other names that people are throwing out there. One is Wong. That's another one I probably should have on the list. That's another one. I didn't want to do 40. So initially I set out to do my top 20, and I'm like, I can't just stop at 20, and I went all the way to 30. And I'm doing it. So Wong is one that definitely could have been on the list.
And you can include
somebody saying Nick Fury, but we did mention Nick Fury is on our list. Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock is included with the current Guardians of the Galaxy lineup. Owen Wilson, I'm not really surprised. I mean, Owen Wilson is a secondary character in Loki.
As Mobius.
We've got Loki in there, so I'm not really, I do love him, but I'm not really surprised or surprised that Sylvie not being there, anything like that. The one that a lot of people brought up, though, is Chris Evans. There's already been a report out that Chris Evans is coming back. But I think most of us assumed that would be for Secret Wars, right? So the reason I didn't have Chris on this list is because I've never really thought it was even a chance or even a possibility that it would be in Doomsday. I've always kind of just thought it would be Secret Wars once they get there. So now, if we get to Secret Wars and they do a big cast announcement and Chris isn't mentioned, he'll be on my list. But for now, I'm not really that surprised because I think a lot of us were kind of assuming that if those reports were true, and I think they are,
I'm surprised
that he's coming back, that it will be for Secret Wars.
I'm surprised none of the more of the Dora Milaje, what was
There's only really one Dora Milaje character that counts.
Because
right?
I just having Winston Duke there and Letitia, I can't see just what are they do like.
But really, there's only one Dora Milaje
character. Right.
So, but I mean, you've already got Wakandan. You already got the Black Panther side of the world already kind of covered, right? You've got the two most major characters. You got M'Baku and you got Shuri. So that's kind of that covered. I don't know that you have to bring in everybody who lives in Wakanda. So I'm not terribly surprised about the Okoye thing. Somebody say, a lot of people saying Madam Web. Yeah. Shocked Madam Web isn't in there.
Yeah.
Some people still saying Quicksilver. I never thought Quicksilver. I mean, by the way, listen, Secret Wars. I wouldn't be stunned to find out that we get Rikki Tikki Tacky back.
That's going to have like 80 people
in Secret Wars. I wouldn't be totally surprised by that. Somebody saying Loki. Loki is already listed in the cast. So Loki was announced. So we can't. Joe also said Thanos. Thanos would be a Secret Wars character.
What about the Loki, Sylvie?
I already mentioned that.
Oh, yeah,
Sylvie, not surprised that you didn't need the secondary characters from the TV show there. Somebody mentioned America Chavez. Yeah, that's one that could have been on. I'm not, again,
but if we didn't
not
get
really
Wong,
surprised at all that she's not, but that could have been there.
She could go under the dark arts.
If we didn't get Wong, we didn't get
Doctor
Strange, then you're not going to get her.
Some people saying Venom, but we talked about that yesterday, right? I said I don't expect Venom at all because Tom Hardy was pretty explicit in saying about Venom 3 that was the last ride for him playing the character. So I've never really thought him coming in was again, you never know. This is Marvel. You never know. I never thought we would see Black Bolt. And then there he was in Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. So you never know. Thunderbolt Ross, not surprised at all. Some people saying Namor. Namor is listed. Namor is on the cast. He was announced yesterday as a part of the cast. So Namor's there. Thing, they did announce Thing. Eben Moss Backrack is Thing. So
all four of them.
Yeah. So he's already, you can't be surprised he's not in there when he is in there. So yeah, then there's the new characters that we haven't met yet, right? Well, we have met Ironheart, but her show hasn't come out yet. I'm not really surprised she's not there. Yeah. Wonder Man, but we haven't even met the character yet. And I don't think you introduce Wonder Man in an Avengers.
But what about Trevor Slattery?
Ooh, the wannabe Mandarin. Oh, I would love for him to be in there. You know what I would love? You know what I'd totally watch? If Disney Plus did an MCU show, a road trip series of Trevor and Luis.
Oh my gosh.
Just Trevor and Luis in a car. Every episode they're driving through a different city and just talking to each other. I would watch the shit out of that show. I would so 100% be on that show. That would be amazing. Some people mentioning Taskmaster. I mean, Taskmaster is the only of the Thunderbolts characters not mentioned. Not surprised. I'll be honest with you. I'm still surprised that Taskmaster is even included in the Thunderbolts.
I'm not so surprised about that, but I mean, we haven't seen her in a lot of the trailers, which we've surmised maybe she doesn't survive.
Right, but that doesn't mean anything, right? Yeah. Because these are multiversal films, so another version of them could come back.
Character of her, though.
Yeah, somebody saying X-23. Again, I never believed we were going to really see X-23. Kitty Pryde?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I get, but now you're going down further on the list of X-Men. Like, you got your main ones, right?
You got the representation there.
You got Charles with Patrick Stewart. You've got Ian McKellen. You've got James Marsden. You've got Beast. You've got, like, you're already going down the list pretty far. So, again, they could have had Kitty Pryde, but I'm not really surprised. Yeah. Colossus, but again,
this could be like the X-Men's actual introduction into the MCU then.
Oh, it is.
The way this is going.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, clearly. Yeah, clearly, unless they surprise us by introducing him in a movie before that. But like, I don't know, maybe some of these X-Men characters pop up in Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking they will, but it's possible.
Hit Girl.
Hit Girl. I'd watch that too. Hit Girl. So anyway, guys, I'm just going to just a quick recap of my top 30 most surprised in order of least surprised to most surprised. At number 30, Echo. Number 29, Doctor Strange. Number 28, Black Widow. Number 27, The Eternals. Number 26, Kang. Number 25, Moon Knight. Number 24, Wolverine. Number 23, Deadpool. Number 22, Scarlet Witch. Number 21, Agatha. Number 20, The Guardians of the Galaxy current iteration. Number 19, Wasp. Number 18, The Punisher. Number 17, Daredevil. Number 16, Blade. Number 15, Killmonger. Number 14, Kate Bishop. Number 13, Nick Fury. At number 12, Monica Rambeau. And at number 11, Valkyrie. Getting into the top 10, at number 10, Jean Grey. Number 9, Vision. Number 8, Rogue. Number 7, the OG Avenger, Hawkeye. At number 6, the Hulks, either he or she. At number 5, Peter Quill, Star-Lord. At number 4, Storm. At number 3, Ms. Marvel. At number 2, Captain Marvel. And at number 1, Spider-Man. And again, just to reiterate, totally possible that some of these could still end up being in Doomsday, but because Benedict Cumberbatch already said in advance that Doctor Strange is not going to be in Doomsday, but will be in Secret Wars, it's also possible that instead of being in Doomsday, a lot of these characters may not show up until Secret Wars. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. Guys, question is for you. Who are you surprised at? Yukio! Yes, Justin. Where was Yukio? She's adorable. I love her. What do you guys think about this? Are there other names that you are shocked, I say, shocked, that was not a part of that list? Which of these characters do you think, yeah, won't be in Doomsday, but we will see them, you're pretty sure, in Secret Wars? I'm sure a lot of them that there will be, like Doctor Strange. Anyway, whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.